Hello everybody and welcome on in. I've got another PvP commentary for you guys today and some pretty cool information regarding bleeds in this game. Turns out if you proc a bleed with the Keenly Jagged perk, that bleed counts as whatever type of attack procced said bleed. So if you manage to land a light attack crit from behind on somebody with a weapon like the Rapier, and you have the evade on cooldown, each tick of that bleed will count as a light attack, reducing the cooldown of your evade by 30%. Now Rapier isn't the only weapon that can take advantage of a combo like this, but I'll be honest, this is a really cool discovery and a huge thank you to you guys for telling me about this during my stream. So I've got a little bit of gameplay footage showing off that rapid evade cooldown when you manage to get this combo right. And of course I'll talk a little bit at the end of the video about this combo and my thoughts on it. Without further ado, let's get into that PvP commentary. As you can see, I managed to proc a nice light attack bleed on that guy there, and you saw how many evades I could quickly chain on him on the offensive, putting good damage into him and maintaining those iframes. Unfortunately though, the other player comes from behind and I'm forced to just kind of back out of there, get a good riposte as they converge, and then just go for a quick flesh around the corner by myself, a little bit of distance, and then get a good drop on them with the fireball. The enemy archer player here still at half health. I go for the evade to try to stay on top of him. He pulls out the sword and shield, get a good counter stun with the riposte there, try to hit him with the heavy, and then follow it up with the flesh to stay right on his tail. And I managed to finish that player off. The enemy players here go for the gravity wells. I go for the evade just to sidestep out of there. A nice iframe on that incoming hammer stun as well. And then I get the riposte off right away, feed the guy a heavy attack, and then evade back out and throw the fireballs. The enemy archer player has respawned and come back, so he's shooting some arrows at me. But this other enemy hammer player, finding himself very low HP, I don't think he saw me come up from behind there because I used the double gap closer to very quickly close the distance, and couldn't hit him with the rapier attack, so I throw the fireball down, managed to connect for the kill there, and I jump towards the enemy bow player, trying to keep the pressure on him. The great axe player unfortunately hits me with the reap. I go for the riposte and he goes for the gravity well, which animation wise is much longer than the riposte, so I don't end up getting the counter on that. Take a ton of pressure from that combo, and I'm forced out with my flesh. Just kind of retreat back into the keep here, just to have a little bit of cover. The enemy player's throwing a lot of stuns down. I managed to catch a riposte on one of them, and just a lot of rolling behind the enemy hammer players. With the rapier, honestly, I find fighting a hammer player to be a lot easier than with other weapons, simply because the hammer is very slow, and if you just watch them carefully, you can dodge a lot of their attacks. And there you see the enemy player goes for that big gravity well up in the air. I jump down, and I actually start focusing a little bit on trying to put some damage into the pillar in the middle here, while also attacking the enemy players. The idea here is that I'm not actually going to be able to kill any of these guys unless the pillar actually goes down, so I'm just poking it a little bit, getting a little bit of evade cooldown from it as well, and trying my best to kite these guys out. There comes the incoming gravity well. There's the second one. I go for the riposte, managed to catch a stray arrow with it, and just drop off the side, and right away go for the fire staff gap close back inside here, and I continue to stay aggressive on this pillar. At this point, I don't realize that the friendly players are outside, but I'm still doing my best to try to put a bit of pressure into the pillar here, and the enemy players very distracted by me, all trying to attack me in the middle here, and I finally get trapped by a nasty gravity well, and I just managed to roll out of it, and here comes the cavalry absolutely crushing the front line of the enemies here, and they finish off the pillar that I managed to tear a lot of the health down, preventing them from being able to respawn and hold this location. So at least I gotta feel like I contributed a little bit to the team play there. I try to chase up the first ice mage. He drops an ice shower, and the other player drops an ice shower behind me. So now I'm just sandwiched between ice showers. Go back down the staircase, just kind of iframe out with evade a little bit. Managed to get a little bit of health back. And these enemy players are still at the top. This guy here, I throw the fireball on. He jumps down to try to get away, and there's a huge flesh crit to bring him down. And just like that, my team managed to take the outpost. Now I've got another clip for you guys here showing off a little bit more gameplay and I'm in the enemy outpost again. We've got 2 enemy players, one with the great axe, one with a hatchet. The great axe player goes for that big spin. Easy to get the riposte on that attack, so I managed to get the counter there. He goes behind me, and I managed to just jump out of the way, feed him the fireball. Both players actually taking quite a bit of damage here. My riposte on cooldown there, get a nice riposte on the hatchet. One of the enemy players brought to 1 HP there, so I managed to proc his death passive, so I just need one more hit to finish him off, and he just kites around, manages to get the heal up in time. And the enemy Ice Gauntlet players come in. They charge through the other side here, so I just go back through the door as they come in. This guy here is trying to buy some potions, it looks like, so I feed him a few attacks with my Rapier. He ends up running off to the side, and the other enemy player that's healed up now comes to attack. I hit a huge riposte backstab on him, and then burnout on the fire staff. Such an excellent finisher when people are trying to escape. And it looks like this guy at the top here did not manage to get those potions, so I just throw the fireball to finish him off. And the other enemy players being trapped outside by the bear. That's so funny. So it actually bought me a little bit of time to fight those 2 inside. And here comes the other Ice Gauntlet player. He's run around the back, I guess. He gets me right in the face with the scream there. I get the riposte on a ranged attack, but another player comes in and drops the ice shower on me. And Flesh is letting me down there. Thankfully, a friendly healer comes in to save the day. But I wanted to showcase this clip simply because I was using the Keenly Jagged perk and I managed to take no advantage of it in that fight. So like I said, it is very situational when you manage to get that evade chain combo, and it's pretty much mostly only when you're on the offensive. For the most part, I do think that Refreshing Move is going to be the better all-around perk for sustain, but if they don't change how the bleeds kind of count as light attacks, it does open up a very interesting combo for a Refreshing Move Keenly Jagged Rapier, having some really insane cooldowns on that evade. Something else I wanted to talk to you guys about a little bit regarding bleeds is Tondo, and that passive that the Rapier has that returns 3 stamina for each time you deal damage. Tondo is an AoE bleed that can stack up to 3 times, lasts for 12 seconds, and has a 6-second cooldown. So I think there's a lot of potential for a pretty crazy amount of stamina sustain on the Rapier if you set yourself up right with a good Tondo bleed build. For me, this was a really cool discovery, just basically all these bleed discoveries in general, and it really excites me to try out some different bleed builds with not only the Rapier, but some of the other weapons too. I'll let you guys enjoy this last fight as I say goodbye. If you guys want to see some live gameplay from me, you can always catch me on Twitch, and if you want to keep up to date with me, you can give me a follow on Twitter. You can find a written guide to the build that I'm using in this video on my website, pvpnewworld.com, and if you want a video guide, there's a link down below in the description for you too. I feature the New World Top 5 battles as well as featured builds on the channel, so if you have some awesome fights or an awesome build that you want to share, you can send that to Kristofer at pvpnewworld.com. This show is sponsored by What the Fast. They're a VPN for gamers. They can give you better ping to your favorite games, especially if you have poor ping to start. There's a link down below in the description for you guys, and it is free to try for the first month. And then last but not least, a massive thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon. Without you guys' help, I wouldn't be able to do this job, so thank you everyone so much for supporting. Thank you guys so much just for tuning in and watching today. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to see you guys next time, and have a great night, everybody.